What up, everybody? It's John from Superfly. Be Superfly with you. Hope you're having a great day and looking forward to the weekend. I saw a client showed me a site to get inspiration from the other day. Well, it was like a month ago, and it was this pivotal site, and they had this feature where a background section would grow and you hovered over it. I thought it was cool, so I decided to work out how to do it in Divi. Unfortunately, they updated their site since then, so I can't show you their site, but I've worked it up. I've worked it up here on Anthem to kind of show you a finished example. So the background image just fades in and out on hover, and I actually have this turned off for under iPad size. Um, and if you stick around to the end of the video, we're going to have a little fun with on hover, changing the background position so it kind of moves it. It's kind of a cool effect. And then also how to use the CSS multiple backgrounds so we could stack a color overlay on top of this too. At first, I didn't think this would be super hard to pull off, and it's not. But at first, I thought I could just animate the background image of the section by itself. But you can't really do that as I'll also be building this here on a regular default Divi install. But here is, for example, here's the section, and then there we have the background image. And if I go into the section and I transform it, scale. It does everything. Like it does the background image and the text, which is obviously we don't want that, and it makes it grow, and it just didn't look. So that didn't work. And then I remembered that, well, if I do a parallax image, so like on this design, this background image here is parallax. When you do that, Divi actually takes the background and puts it in its own div, and so then you could, and it's doing some translating there is, but I could scale it then, and it doesn't mess with the text, and I liked that, but I didn't like the parallax happening at the same time as the zooming, so I opted not to use that method, and I just thought that this was cleaner. And yeah, so I'll show you how to do it here, both on a default Divi install here, and then also on this page here. It's the same page as we just looked at, but it's been taken out. Okay, so as I go along, I'll be working in both sets, and this tutorial may be a little longer, but if you stick with it, I think you'll learn some cool things about what you can do here. All right, so the first thing that I have here on my page, so here's my page, and here are the three sections with the text and button to the right. These guys right here. Right now their background colors are set. And so the first thing I'm going to do actually is go in and I'm going to make these transparent. So if you get to a point in the tutorial where you're like, my sections are white, I can't see it, it's probably because you need to go in to the section here, and like this might look like this when you first come in here. You'll just need to come in and set that to transparent. Okay, and so I'm going to go ahead and do that over here on this one. So on this page, it's this section with the blurbs in it. So I'm going to go in and I'm going to set this to transparent, and then I'm actually going to copy this background image URL. Or if you don't have the image loaded yet, just go in and grab some kind of a URL for a background image. So I'm actually going to copy that, and I'm going to go back to my Anthem page here. and I'm going to go in here. So I've set these to transparent, and then you'll see I have some code in here already. I have a background image code, so I'm going to copy that, and it's in the before section. And so I'm actually going to go over here. I'm going to paste this in the before section, and then I'm going to get this link for this image. That's the one I want to use. I'm going to cut it out of there. I'm going to replace that here. There we go. It should say, you know, background URL, and then it has my image there. And then again, yeah, that should be white or transparent. I'm going to save this page, and then same thing here. So I've already gone through and know that I want the San Francisco Bridge picture to be the background for the first one. The same with the second one. I already know that I want, there's a guy cutting a wood board. And then for this last one, and I'm just taking out this class name for now, there's some cycles. All right, so we'll update this page, and we'll update this page here. And you should see nothing. Yep, like the text is there, but since those background images are living in the before pseudo class, we haven't really told that before class to show up for us. So let me explain a little bit here. So when you go into a section's custom CSS, and you've probably seen these in other ones too, it has like main element, before, after, and then sometimes it has title, subtitle, whatnot. This before and after, I believe they're called pseudo classes in CSS, but it allows you to you have your section, you're able to put things, styles, and sometimes content right before or after that div. That's how some people on the like on the mobile menu, you can put the word menu before the hamburger, because using a before class. Like I'll show you. So this is a Divi site I'm working on, but you have this text here, menu, and that's possible because of using that before, you're able to insert content. So you can say, hey, go, and then you can change that content from, you know, to whatever. So that's kind of the idea with the before. So here we're saying, since I can't use the background image of the actual section, I'm going to cheat and use the before. I'm going to insert the background in the pseudo class before section. But by default, that is not showing for us. And so we're going to take some CSS and we're going to apply that and make it show. So first thing we need to do is we need to take this class name of pivotal here, and I'm going to add that to all my sections that I'm trying to work on. So here's my blurb section. We're going to say CSS class pivotal, save and exit that, and then over here I need to add that to all my sections. So there's one. Any section that I want this effect to go on. Great. Okay. And then the next step is to take this CSS here, and we're going to add this into the page. I mean, or you could put it in your theme options CSS for Divi, or you can just put it on the page that you're working on. And I'll walk through and explain what this CSS is doing. So it's targeting, so we gave this class to our sections, and so by saying .pivotal, we're targeting this any section with the class of pivotal here, and then we're using that before pseudo class, so we're targeting that. And the first thing we're doing is saying content is nothing. That's what this means. And what that does is basically lets the div show pretty much, or it kind of, yeah, I'm not exactly sure. I just know that you could type, for example, in that restaurant site I showed you, I have it. It says it's inputting the text menu. But I know for this example, I don't want it to. I don't want the content to be anything. But I'm putting it there. And I might not even need that. We'll find out here once we get it going. I do know I want it to display as block and the height and width to be 100%. That way it takes the whole area. And then I want to position it absolutely and on the top and left 0. And you might not need all of these. And this is just how I got it working. Background position for my image is going to be center, so just center. Toward the end, though, at the end of the tutorial, we're gonna have some fun, and we're gonna try left bottom on that. Background size is cover, so I want to cover the whole thing, area, and then here's just some transition to make the effect smooth. And then what I'm saying is, so that's going on there all the time. And then if the screen is over is over 767, I'm having the overflow be hidden. And then when I hover, I'm having that before background image, or that before div is scaling to 1.2, and actually like 1.1 better. So I need to copy all this right here. And I'm just going to put it in this page CSS. But you would probably put it in your theme options CSS. That's probably where the best spot it would go. But for this tutorial, I'm just going to throw it in here. And I'll try to explain again what happens. So I'm going to refresh this page and then refresh my Anthem page here. All right, well, we have background images showing up. That's good. And then now when I hover over that background image in the before pseudo class, which is in this case the bridge, it's growing, it's scaling to 1.1, and it's doing it in a half second, which is these right here, values right here. And then yeah, it's doing it for all 3 of these, which is killer, looks great. And then on our default Divi, same deal. I have this image growing. So now that we have that, and then on it's still growing here, but then on 767 and below, it doesn't. I decided to not have that, which you could either change that to be, Divi jumps to its kind of the tablet mode at 980, so you could have this set to 980, or you could just get rid of this and just have it be on all the time. Okay, so some fun things you can. Well, first let me see what all we need. Let me inspect this here to see how much of that code is really needed. So here's my section. And then if you remember, the background image is applied to the before pseudo class, and then some of our CSS is targeting that before. And so at first you might look at the inspect element and say, well, I see my section, where's the before? If you twirl down, you'll see the little before section right there. And you'll see that there's our background image. And then you'll also see that when we hover over the main section up here, then it goes and it tells us to scale. I'm going to take this off real quick though and see if I need display block. So I might not need display block actually. Yeah, probably not. But it works with it, so I'm going to leave it on there unless someone. So height and width, it looks like I need. Position, I need that. Top, I need that. Left, I probably don't need that. And then background cover I like to have on. So the display block is questionable, and I guess what was it, the left, but it works fine with them, so I'm going to leave them there. So some fun things we can do is we can mess around with the speed. So if you're using Atom, if I command click, and I'm not sure what that would be for PC users, but if I command click before each one of these, I get multiple cursors. So I could say, instead of 0.5, let's do 0.1, and then copy. And let's try that in here. Let's see what kind of difference that is. Okay, I'll refresh. So that's really fast. Probably too fast. And then I don't need to go change it back there. I can just do it in here. Oh yeah, they hover. And then before, let's try, or wait, no, it's not on before, sorry. Yeah, I just need to select the section. Or the before. I just need to select the before. So it gets a little confusing. And instead of 0.1, let's try let's just try 1.5. So it's a second and a half now. So that might be a little long. I feel like 0.5 is about right. Okay, so like I promised, we're going to do a couple things here with the positioning of the background and also using multiple backgrounds to add a tint. So first thing, let's mess around with the background position. So I'm gonna comment out that line, and I'm going to bring in this line here, which says it's going to position my background to the left and the bottom. And I may have to turn off cover for this, but let's see. And then in my hover, I'm going to make it go to the right top. I'll leave cover on for now, but I think I'm going to take that. I'll do one with that on, and I think it'll just go up and down, and it won't move to the left or the right. That's what I'm thinking. I'll do it on this page too. So what I'm thinking with that background size cover on, it's going to force the images to fit. And then now, instead of just zooming in, they should go up. They should zoom in and also go up and down. So let me refresh the page, refresh this page. Yeah, oh, I got to update the. So now it's going up and down really fast, and it's growing, but I need to update the speed. So I'm going to go ahead and do my command click again to set this back at 0.5. And then for the scale, I'm going to take that off right now because I just want to do the background position. Okay, now I'll copy this and try it. Sorry about that. Been a while since I've done a tutorial. We've been busy with client work and some products, things like that. All right, let me save this now. Okay, this should be better now. Save this one too. Yeah, there we go. That's kind of cool. That's a good placement right there. The trick is though on this, well, this is fine. Yeah, this one with the background size on, it's just going to go up and down, and that's pretty cool. But if I take off the background size cover, so let me comment that out, and now I'm going to copy those in. It'll get a little bit more. Let me save that one, update, and then get the styles here, get rid of these, paste those in, update. All right, so now we don't have background size telling it to fit in a certain size. So these images are really large, but now you'll see that they're going from the bottom left to the top right. which on that first image I really don't like. It's too big. But this wood one, it's kind of cool, especially if we slowed it down. If we said, you know, if we made that like 0.8 or 0.9, let me do that real quick. Let's say 0.9. Yeah, there we go. It's a little smoother. That one's kind of cool, actually. That one's pretty sweet. And again, we're using them three things in a row here. It probably wouldn't be advised to do that on 3 things right in a row. Maybe you had like one of these sections and then a bunch of text, and then another one of these sections. Let's check it out over here. Let me think. Let me think on this one. What's going on here? So this one, for some reason, isn't doing. There we go. Again, this image is too big, but I do like it on that motorcycle one. That's sick. Okay, I'm gonna get rid of that and then show the last thing here. So I'm gonna go ahead and comment this out, and I'll leave these commented out stuff in the CSS so you can mess around with it. We'll go back to our growing here, and then we'll comment out this background top. So let's get that back to how it was. And then the last thing I'll show you is how to tint these so you can read the text. I mean, you could tint them in Photoshop, but that's not as fun as doing it this way, because then you don't have to worry about it. All right, so I think we're back to where we started. Yep, that looks great. And yeah, you can see that it's kind of hard to read this text. This one's fine because this one, in the image comes with a tint on it. So I'm not going to worry about that one, but we'll do it on these ones here. So basically all you have to do is go back to the section, the before section. Here's our background image. And right here, let me kind of, this right here is a multiple backgrounds. Where at first I tried to use RGBA for the background tint, but it wasn't working. So then I read on Chris Corrier's site that you have to use linear gradients, which is actually kind of cooler, because then you could actually have a different color at the top, different color at the bottom, or totally clear at the top and then kind of come in to the color at the bottom. So we'll mess around with that too. But I'm going to copy these 3 lines here, and then I'm going to go under here, paste them in, and then I'm going to grab my original URL there, which is the same, I guess, right there. So that's great. And now I don't need this first one anymore. But I'm going to go ahead and grab this, copy it, and I'm going to do that to the other 2. So go in, go down a couple lines, paste in, grab my URL of the guy cutting board thing, copy that, replace this one, and then get rid of this. And then lastly, we'll do it to this guy right here. Whoops, I gotta grab the fun. I gotta grab the whole deal here, that whole thing. Come down to my last one. Come down a couple lines, paste that in, grab this URL of this image, copy that, put it in right here. Get rid of this top one. Tidy it up a bit, save, update, and with any luck, these things are going to have a little overlay on them, which is going to make this text that much easier to read or refresh. And there we go. It's subtle, but it helps. But like I said, you could go in here and wreak some havoc. The first one we'll leave as it is. The second one, though, we're going to come in here and we're going to say 0 here. And then we'll say 90%. And then this last one will get a little crazy. We'll do both 50%. And then this one I have no idea what this is going to be. So we'll see. But it's going to be some tinted colors. All right, so the first one we left normal. The second one, you can see it's clear up top, and it's got the full 90% here toward the bottom. And then, oh, that one's cool. I like that. That turned out pretty sweet, actually. Yeah, that's sick. Love that. And then for those values, if you're in Photoshop, you can just click around to get the RGB here. So 223, 41, 41. And then back in here, you would, and there's some other gradient things you can do too. But down here, that's where you would tweak that. And I also have this little app that I bought called Gradient back in the day. I think it still might be on the App Store. But it allows you to pick a color, pick a couple colors. There we go. And then you can kind of change the direction. And then that would get you, yeah, there's some gradient code here that would get you, instead of the gradient to be just top and bottom, it would be at an angle, like this one is. There's probably some online too. I'm sure there's like gradient generators online. If you Google probably CSS gradient generator. I don't have a, yeah, there's tons. I don't have a ton of experience in that area, but I do really like how that turned out. So yeah, that wraps up this tutorial. One thing that I was a little unsure on that I had to do was, where is it at? Oh, I think it's on hover. Yep. On hover, sorry, not hover. Let me take that off. But I had to put on this on the pivotal class. I had to put on this overflow hidden. Without it, the image would grow. It would go out of bounds. I don't know if you see that, but it's kind of going out of bounds there. And so when I added overflow hidden, did that. And maybe I don't need overflow hidden. Maybe I just need overflow Y hidden. If someone knows, please comment or let me know. But yeah, sweet. I'll post the CSS will be in the video description, and if you just watch along and follow along, yeah, you'll be able to do it. Thanks again for all your support through Anthem and Josephine from all of us at Be Superfly. Stay fly and have a great weekend. All right, take care.